In 1996, Alanis Morissette became an instant worldwide superstar thanks to her debut album Jagged Little Pill, which made her the youngest artist ever to take home a Grammy for Album of the Year. It seemed like she was poised for a long career with plenty of follow-up albums. But while she has put out some music over the past couple decades, we haven't seen much from her lately. Why? Here's a look at the real reason you don't hear from Alanis Morissette anymore. Self-help guru. Early on in her career, Morissette discovered that her fans were responding to her views on psychology and spirituality as much or more than her music. And in recent years, she's chosen to focus on helping others in ways besides music. In 2015, she started a podcast called Conversations with Alanis Morissette, where she discussed spirituality with various gurus and mentors in the field. She also joined the faculty of the Esalen Institute, where she taught a seminar and workshop called Hurtling Towards Wholeness. And in 2016, she joined the British newspaper The Guardian as an advice columnist. Though she put those endeavors on hold in the summer of 2016 to focus on raising her new baby, she hasn't given up on her mission to help those in need. She's also writing a book called Perpetual Becoming, which is both a self-help guide and a memoir of Morissette's own spiritual journey through life.
The consciousness movement doesn't mean that you go from being bad to being good. I think it's more that you go toward being whole.
Jagged Little Pill, the musical. Decades on, Jagged Little Pill is still Morissette's most well-known work. Back in 2013, it was announced that the same team that adapted Green Day's American Idiot was working on a musical based on Jagged Little Pill. The musical was originally scheduled to debut in 2014, but so far it hasn't yet been completed. In fact, Morissette said in 2015 that they had only just started on the project, explaining that the musical was just the first step in a longer process, and that at some point down the next 10 years, I can envision myself creating a one-person show where I can really get into the subtleties and the stories. Good news though, the singer announced in May 2017 that Oscar-winning screenwriter Diablo Cody is handling the adaptation with an expected 2018 release date. Here's hoping. Guest starring Alanis. Morissette has been making music over the past few years, but you may have missed it. That's because her live appearances have mostly been guest spots on other people's tours, while her recorded efforts have been hidden in film soundtracks. So far, she's made appearances on stage with Taylor Swift and Demi Lovato, among others, while her newer music has shown up on the soundtracks to movies like The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Prince of Persia. And she also contributed to the soundtrack of the documentary for Awake, The Life of Yogananda. So, just open your third ear, man, and listen. Dabbling in acting. While her most famous role might be in Kevin Smith's 1999 classic Dogma, she's been occasionally popping up in other places too, and more recently. In 2009, she appeared on the Showtime comedy Weeds, a show which she credits with helping her detox from a food addiction, which is no laughing matter. Just ask Jason Segel.
Whereas Alanis Morissette, I can and have imagined her just chowing down on a bologna sandwich.
And in 2016, she appeared in the period drama The Prince of Desire, with The Hollywood Reporter calling her underused in the role. And they're right, more Alanis, Hollywood. Charity case. In 2001, Morissette was honored by the Friends of the United Nations when they presented her with the Global Tolerance Award in recognition of her work in promoting equality and tolerance throughout the artistic world. She's also worked publicly with charity organizations including Equality Now, Relationships First, the National Eating Disorders Association, Girls Not Brides, Attachment Parenting International, PS Arts, and Days for Girls International. And in 2009, she even ran the New York Marathon to help raise money for the Maasai Wilderness Conservation Trust, finishing with a time of 4 hours, 28 minutes, and 45 seconds. Dogged by legal issues. In March 2014, Morissette and her husband, Mario Treadway, found themselves in court over a bizarre incident involving their dog, Circus. According to People, the lawsuit claimed that when they fired their housekeeper, Maria Garcia, she asked for permission to keep the dog as part of her severance. They said no, but she took the dog anyway. After a great deal of really surreal drama, including fears the case would make the dog a target for dog napping, the poor pooch was finally returned to Morissette. That was small potatoes compared to the lawsuit she filed against then-manager Jonathan Todd Schwartz in 2013. Turns out Schwartz had been embezzling money from Morissette to the tune of $4.8 million. He was found guilty in 2017 and sentenced to 6 years in prison, with the money repaid to Morissette by his former firm. Hiding from the internet. In 2015, Billboard chatted with her about her performance with Demi Lovato and asked her whether or not she had seen any of the internet's responses. She said that she hadn't, and that was for a very good reason. It terrified her. My survival strategy from, frankly, when I was 15 years old was not to expose myself, because if I get too wound up in the positive feedback, it's inevitable that I'll get wound up in the negative feedback. In general, I kind of hide. It's a self-preserving mechanism. Sorry, trolls, you're wasting your time making fun of ironic in the video's comments section. Family time. Fortunately for Morissette, all that 90s angst has led to a happy 21st century. Part of the reason for her silence is that she's spending some quality time with her family. She announced her marriage to Mario Solai Treadway in 2010, and since then they've collaborated on 2 children and 1 music video for his song Snow Angel. Sounds like she's exactly where she wants to be right now. Thanks for watching! Click the Nicki Swift icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too!